Okay, so let's get started. Uh, yeah, so let me share my screen and we'll start off with what is the agenda for today. Okay, so here I'm sharing my screen and I'm presenting the agenda for today. Yeah, hope you all can see it. Can somebody confirm me? Yes, yes, no? Mhm. Yeah, okay. Yeah, just write in the chat. Okay, all right. Uh, right, so yep, here is agenda for day 2. So we will have a quick recap of what we covered in the day 1, and we'll be getting into more about what is HTML. So we'll understand what is HTML and some of its syntax. Uh, we'll, we'll try creating forms. We'll understand what are HTML forms. Yeah, we'll understand HTML attributes and form validation. I'm sure many of you would have studied or at least aware of these tags, are familiar, bit familiar with HTML, and the syntax also looks lots easy. Yeah, lot easy because it's not something that you have to learn everything. So very easy to start with HTML. So I planned more content. So we'll try to cover most of this today. So yesterday mostly it was a conceptual, like, or on a high level what we discussed. Okay, quickly. So recap of day 1. So we understood what is web application. Yeah, in that we first understood what is web. Yeah, so what do we call web? We say we do use everyday web, but we don't realize under the web, or under the hood, what is actually running, what is behind. You just go to Google, you just access something. Uh, yeah, so it's a big market, a virtual market. Yeah, and many and billions of devices actually are connected to that market. And that's why you're able to get the content in fraction of second. Whatever you ask, whatever exists, for sure you'll be accessed from anywhere in the world. Yes. So, and that big market is kind of, led by some of these big companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon, yeah, earlier Yahoo, many such companies. I mean, it's a very, very big list. So now, mainly in the web application, we see a client server interaction. So So there will be some specific servers run by each company. Yeah, just like each shop has their own place and their offerings. So yeah, each server will have specific content. For example, Amazon has an e-commerce site, whereas Google doesn't have an e-commerce. It gives a search engine. Some other website, YouTube offers multimedia. Right? We as a client, we use browser. So when I say client, it's a browser. Browser makes a request. We user use a client, and then we send the request to internet. Internet will be able to find appropriate server, and then it will fetch that content back, yeah, to our client, and it will be displayed. For example, if I say Amazon.com, I just type and give it to the search engine. It goes into the web. It finds, okay, in Amazon.com, there is a site called Amazon.com. In that, there is a specific page I've requested. If that is found, then it will return the response back, and it comes back onto my browser. So I said, like, there's an interesting topic. If you still have not got the time, watch like how internet works. to understand the full communication, which is a very, very interesting topic. We cannot rely, we cannot leave internet. Yeah, we are so addicted to internet. Is there anyone who doesn't browse at all in a day? I'm sure no, right? So in that case, then it is even more interesting to understand, okay, how is the internet actually working? How I am getting the content? How my requests from this browser reaching to the server? How far that server is like from my system? Yep. So then uh, we understood the important terms, what is web application and website. Yeah. So in a typical web application, we'll have the setup where there will be a UI part or a front end part or a user interfacing application will be there, and there will be another application called backend. So these two applications will be running still in the server. They both sit in the server. And for a website, usually we'll have only one part, which is which is just a UI part or the front end part, usually for a website. But we call it a web application, so it has its own dedicated backend. It has a database. Yeah. So this will be the typical difference. So often website, web application are interchange, but in the core, like web application has a both front end and back end piece. We understood what is back end, we understood what is front end. And when it comes to careers, yeah, so web development is a very demanding skill. I told you like everything is online. Every every business wants to get online. Every business wants to find customers. And for sure they need a tool in order to reach out or to talk about their offers, talk about their products, talk about their services. If that is a demand, and you know that even a medicine can be ordered online, yeah, even a food, even a even a trip, then they really need people like you know you who knows UI or a front end to get their business up and running. And it will not get over there. It needs to be under a constant maintenance. It will keep evolving. People ask for update. People change the things over the time. Their products will improve. They'll have a better content, right? So there will be people who has to work behind this hub application like throughout its lifetime. It's not that once I'm done, my work is over, project is over. No, right? Okay. So now this is a quick recap. There was one question which was asked yesterday, like, can I directly from the UI write to TP? I answered it. I just want to iterate the same. From a front end, for a security reason, direct connection to database is not allowed. Yeah, we will understand more why it is so. So because of this direct connection is not allowed, that's why we have an application called backend. And backend takes care of interacting with the database. Not only database, it will usually have some more stuff like an SMS service, an email service. Yeah, it's not just backend. It will have a lot of things. So it will be working with all that. All right. With that, let's move on to what is called as HTML. before understanding. So we said every web application. Yesterday, I said three things. Yeah. And we happen to see a popular website, our day-to-day, use site for products, Amazon.com. We went to their website and we saw there is an option called view page source. If you click on an element, not on an image, you get this option called view web page source or view page source. I showed you this page source, yeah, is made of HTML. Okay, today we'll try to get familiar ourselves with what is HTML. In order for a web application or a website to run, we need HTML. Yeah, it is one of the uh, core language or a core thing in order to have our website or web application. Okay, so more into HTML today. Yeah, so I'm sure many of you would have heard. If you are doing this for the first time, still fine. Yeah, let's go through it. Okay, so what is HTML? Yes, HTML, it stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Yeah, so this abbreviation. Yeah, so Hypertext Markup Language. Then what is it? Generally, we understand that, or is it a programming language? No, it is actually a markup language. I'll give an example why it is called markup in few minutes. Yeah. Then is it a programming language? No, it is actually a standard. The standard created by these two groups, W3C and WhatWG. Yeah. So these two groups are actually working behind the standards of HTML. Okay. I'll give an example of what is standards also. Don't worry. Now, this HTML, yeah, and the web standards are implemented by different browsers. Okay, I'll tell you what is it, that also. And it defines the skeleton of any web page. We just now saw it is actually defining this, it is one of the core thing, like the main application is actually HTML content. And in sample, it looks like this. This is a sample HTML code. Yeah. So we'll be understanding each of this. What is this? A few seconds. Yeah. 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 After understanding what is version. Okay. So let me get on to an editor here. It's called CodePen. We'll start typing. We'll start understanding what is the standard. Why is it a markup language? Yes. So let's say, how do I open? So it's a codepen.io. And then let's click on start coding. Okay. So you can do without login or sign up, but if you can create an account, it will be good. Now let's say I want to create some website content. Assume like, okay, so I have to type Logic Labs Technology. Yeah, this is happens to be my heading, and then I have some text which explains what is Logic Labs Technology is doing. And after that, I have some list of products or list of courses that we are actually running. Yeah. And then I have a list of badges. Okay. List of badges that we have so far conducted. Yeah. You've done the source. Tell me, do you see this text? That appealing? That readable? Yeah. We'll zoom a bit. Assume like I've listed most of the things what is actually are required in our website. Right? Not looking good. So this is my content and I've written in HTML and I can write in HTML like this. No, but what's missing piece? No, people are not used to this content. People want different content in a different appearance. They want a different appearance. They should be able to identify what is where. Assume I have too much of content below. Some more. You will get lost. And you, as a programmer, okay, you need a better way to control this text, right? You need a better way to control this text. Now, this is where HTML comes up with you know, tags. So basically a markup. Marking is, let's say, okay, I'll add a marking H1, okay, around this heading. I'll use some tag called H1. I use H1 to mark this text as heading. Here there is a text, okay, it happens to be a description of what we are doing, and I want to control how that is looking. So I'll put another tag to mark that as a different content. Yeah. So I have another set of information. So that also I actually mark it, yeah, using some more tags so that that content also, yeah, clearly visible and user finds it very quickly. Yeah. So, okay. So I put some more information. Now you see the difference what we had earlier versus what we are having now. Okay. So we are able to come to this level basically, by marking the text. So we identified different parts of the information that we wanted to present. We have marked each of those text, yeah, using this language, markup language, HTML. And because I have marked, now as a programmer, I have a great control over each text which is displayed, whatever is displayed. Yeah, I can identify the sections. Yeah, so there are different things which are involved, and user is also a bit happy because he is able to find, yeah, a different content, not everything in one format or one style, but rather it has been bit organized. Yeah, so this is what is called a markup language. This is what is meaning markup. Now, let's move on to what is called standards. I said there is something called standards. It is not a language by itself. I said it's a standard. So what exactly you mean by standard? For example, take an example of mobile standards. Yeah, I'm not sure who is actually running the mobile standards, meaning which company, which group, yeah, okay, is actually behind uh, mobile standards. Okay, mobile standards. Let's say, uh, yeah, just let's search mobile standards. That is enough. Now, basically, what that standards says, yeah, there is something called mobile standards globally, you know, so which basically talks what should be a mobile, uh, offer, whether it should have a SIM as a mobile, how one device should connect to other device, right? What are the different services? So the question is, who set the global mobile technology standards? There should be somebody who says, no, mobile means like this. It is not like this, right? So they will tell, okay, these are the things. Okay, it should offer. It should offer a message. It should offer a call. It should offer incoming. It should offer outgoing, right? So, so there will be one body like we see, yeah, mobile technology standards. So they will tell, okay, this is how it should work. Yeah. So there are a lot of governments who are also involved in setting some regulation that it has to be like this. When you are calling, the other person should be able to see who is calling. This might be a one regulation. Yes. So like the way we have standard, yeah, and they are coming up with what should be 1G, what is 2G, what is 4G, 5G, right? So this is a standard. Do you call mobile a language? No. So there are some set of standards. Now each of the standards are implemented, yeah, by the respective companies or the mobile manufacturing persons, right? You know a lot of mobiles, right? So we have Vivo, Oppo, we have company like, yeah, Google is also having phone. Luckily Amazon doesn't have, yeah. These are some mobile manufacturing or selling companies. Samsung, Huawei, Apple, yeah, LG, MI. Now these companies, they will understand that mobile standards, and in their manufacturing, they will make sure they are in compliance with whatever mobile standards which are actually given by the telecom group. Do you agree? And that is why we see that every product, yeah, every mobile which we are using in the market today are following same set of, you know, offers. They follow similar pattern. Yeah, because it is governed by some standard, and there is a committee who will actually tell what should be included, what should not be included. How do you take care of security? How do you take care of privacy? Okay, now you understood what is a standard. If there is no standard, what could have happened? Maybe Apple, which is a very big company, they could have done totally different thing. Samsung would have done totally different thing. Maybe there might be some overlap, yeah, and they could have controlled on their own what they can do, what they cannot do. You would have not seen everybody keeping it as a mobile. They might have called different device. For example, one thing which does not have a standard, I mean, I'm just giving an example. There might be a standard. Let's take a tablet. Unlike mobile, I don't think so. At a tab level, there are some standards. Fine. Now, why are we talking about the standard? Because I'm just saying HTML is also a standard. Now, this standard is actually maintained by two teams called W3C and WG. Now, what these groups are doing, they are keeping the standard. Okay, they are working on improvements to the standard. Do you think it was the same mobile, same options that we got on a very first day? Meaning, let's say you go back to 5 years, 10 years down the line. No, even the mobile companies have offered different thing over the time. Every year or two, they'll keep updating. And I said these are groups, but behind this group, there are very big names. Yeah, there are very big names like Microsoft, Google, yeah, Amazon. Okay, there are many big companies are actually part of these groups. It's not like one big company like Apple can take over and then do everything. No, all these big companies are part of this W3C and they are working with what WG group. Why? Yeah, because each of these company have their own browsers. Yeah, maybe Amazon doesn't have, but still they might be interested. So there will be representatives from each of these companies and many more who will actually work part of these groups. And especially, let's say you are a owner of browser, what you will do, you will take that standard and you will implement it in your standards. Yeah, that's why we see whether you are using a Edge browser or you are using a Firefox or you are using Chrome, Safari, you see equality. They all support same set of language. They all support HTML. They all support CSS. They all support JavaScript. Even if any browser, any other small browser, yeah, whether it is in a web desktop or a mobile, okay, is following the standards what is given by this. And they take the standard what is written for HTML for every version and they'll implement it in their browser. So we call it a language, but internally it is all a standard. And HTML, yeah, the very basic language, it actually defines skeleton. It tells, okay, how my website is going to look like. It is giving me a skeleton, what content I have in a high level. All right. Okay. So, and today HTML5 is actually the latest version. And this is a logo they have usually for HTML. And a sample looks like this. We'll understand each of these parts in a few minutes. So quick recap on the versions. So first HTML started, yeah, in 1991. Then we have so many versions, yeah. After that, 3.2, 4.0, they introduce, yeah, CSS, yeah, they given support for adding JavaScript. Okay, in 2.0 itself, they had some features like form elements, tables, and this guy, yeah, this Tim Berners-Lee, yeah, he's also called father of web, right? He was the one who actually found what is web, right? So, uh, yes, so we have a latest version, which is HTML5, and it happens to be a major version. So in the earlier version, they introduce set of things, and HTML5 happens to be like in 2014, yeah, which got a major revision. So major revision, as in by adding a lot of things, a lot of new features. Yeah, for example, today we can have a live conferencing like this, which is actually running in web. We are now able to see each other, share each other, talk to each other over the web. Yeah, this is all because, yeah, of the new standards and the capabilities they have actually introduced in the web. So which is basically, first they'll come up with the standards and then they are implemented in each of the different browsers that we use today. So I'm sure you might have observed over the recent past, there is a lot of demand and a lot of things happening over the web. And one reason might be because of the evolution of HTML5 in the recent past. And all these versions, specifically HTML5, is backward compatible, which means, yeah, it will be like, it can actually uh, supports whatever is supported in the previous versions. It's not that this version will actually, have a totally different syntax or a totally different standards than the earlier version. Just like mobile, right? Even today, we have same calling and SMS facilities which were there, yeah, when they, which were introduced way back from the days when they created mobile. They have SMS and they have calling, and even today, if you get a even high-end phone like iPhone, you still have those two features. All right. So this is a bit uh, recap on like what are different HTML versions. Yeah. Okay. So before I move on to what is HTML page structure, I'll take up if there are any questions. Uh, Type in the chat if you have any questions or any concerns so far. Oh, okay. Uh, am I sounding better? I think a bit. Do you guys hear me? Yes. Okay. Any questions? Yeah, Simran. Any question so far? No? Okay. So if no questions, I can move forward. Otherwise, you write in the message. Okay. So we'll understand what is HTML page structure. So we have seen sample HTML. Now let's understand each part of the web page. Yeah. Okay. So what is HTML and what is each of these lines? Now I'm talking what each of these lines actually are for. So this line, yeah, is actually called doc type. So basically that tells browser, which version of, it's called doc type as it's written, which actually tells which version of HTML I'm writing in the page. In the source, it will tell which version of HTML. We said there are 5 versions. Yeah, the latest version is 5. So if you just write HTML, then it means it says browser, I am actually writing in HTML. Yeah. I'm writing in HTML5. Okay. So then we have the head section. What is this? This is called head section. So whatever we write within the head page, yeah, is just for, the page itself. It is something which is not visible to the user. We write things which are not, you know, which are doesn't have a display, which doesn't have an output that we can display to the user. Yeah, I'll just tell you what is like title has. Okay, what does title looks like? But on a high level page structure, we have a doc type, we have a head, and there's a next section which is actually called body. Yeah, just like a human skeleton, we have head and a body. Yes, on a high level, we have a doc type, we have a head, we have a body within HTML also. Now head is a section where I told, you know, we keeps, we write things which are actually not for a display purpose, but in the body section, whatever we write is actually visible to the user. Yeah. So this is an high level structure. So it has head and a body. But if you see, this head and body is wrapped within another tag, okay, another thing which is called HTML itself. Yeah, it's wrapped inside HTML. You could see that HTML starts and HTML close. Just going back to our example. Yes. So let me create a new HTML. Yeah. Okay. So I could create an HTML structure. So don't worry what is going within this. Yeah. On a high level structure, you see HTML tag, which is actually, having both head and body section, right? So this is what is the structure of HTML, right? Okay. So do you see I have written title document? Do you see it in the output? Of course not. Let's say I write the same thing here. You see? Yes. Yeah. It updates. It is updated. It is displayed. This is what you see on the browser. So this is an HTML code behind producing this output. For this content, this is HTML. All right. Okay. So that comes like, what is the structure of any HTML page. It is not only this page. We just now saw a page from Amazon, which was also looking the same. So they start with doc type. They also have HTML. They also have a head section. You see head? Yeah. Similarly, they also will have a body section. Yeah. If I find body, I'll find a body section. Yeah. Yes, body is somewhere here. Then, yeah, yeah. Body, I think we reach to the end of the body, and then it is a closing HTML tag that marks the end of HTML skeleton. Okay. Yeah. Let's move on. I think I'll take I'll cover next topic and then we'll take up some questions. Okay. Now, what do we see in HTML page? I said these are syntax for markup. Yeah, we're able to wrap our content within some, within HTML feature like tags. And we are seeing this kind of structure. Each tag is following somewhat similar syntax. So tags are actually the basic building blocks. Yeah, you put each tag makes up the full skeleton. So HTML itself is actually used for creating skeleton of your web page, and each tag actually a one building block. Yeah, one block. Now, if that is making a one block and it is a building block, then let's understand a bit detail. What are parts of a tag? What does a tag look like? Yeah, the first thing, this is actually called a tag. Here P is actually called a tag. And since it is in the beginning, it is called opening tag. Yeah, so this portion, okay, is actually called a opening tag. And this portion, which is here, is actually called closing tag. Now, between this opening and closing, okay, you can write whatever you want to display or whatever you want to mark it up with this particular tag. And this is actually a content. Yeah. So what is this? This is ending tag. And this is a opening tag. Now what exactly goes in a head tag or the opening tag? Within the opening tag, we have another other set of information which are actually using it. This is called attribute. Yeah, attribute. And the name of the attribute is class. And what is this? This the part which is we are assigning to the attribute is actually called attribute value. So, so this is an attribute equals, and then within the code, we are giving value of that attribute. Yeah, here is an example of another tag. Yeah, let's identify, okay, what is there in this particular tag. So here, anchor or A is actually called, the opening tag, and we could see the opening tag here till here. And then we have some content, and then followed by that there is a closing tag. And within the opening tag, we see attribute called href. And href has a value. Yeah, href has a value https www.example.com. Okay, so all the HTML tags follow this syntax. Yeah, typically most of the tags, yes, will be of this. So everything in HTML we have is actually, either a tag or an attribute. And tags will have attribute in their opening tag. Yeah. So in HTML, okay, in HTML, all we have to learn is the different tags that are available. Okay. And each of those tags have attributes. Okay. So we understood what is tag. Tag, we are using it to mark up some text telling that this is what, is this text or this content. Yeah. Then what is an attribute? What do we call an attribute? So attribute basically, you know, defines, yeah, or it is telling, you know, how this tag is different from another tag. It gives more description, okay, about individual tag. For example, I have so many participants who have joined this class. Now, I can call all of them are students. But then each student have, you know, separate attributes. Example, each have an attribute called name. Yes, each have a name and which is different. Each attribute, I mean each student also have a place, correct? Yeah. So these properties actually which describe or which we can use to describe more about that content are actually attributes. And throughout the HTML as a language, all we have to learn is what are tags and what are the attributes that tag supports. Okay, right? Now let's do some hands-on. Yeah. So before I get into hands-on, we'll talk about what is the development environment. Yes. So you say environment. Some of you asked, okay, what is environment? So as you saw so far, we can actually use an online environment to practice HTML. You can write code online using codepen.io. Okay, I showed you how to start from codepen.io. Let me talk about that. Codepen.io, it's a URL. You just type in the URL called codepen.io. Yeah, okay, it's asking me, okay, do you want to leave? Yes. So I'll type in this URL and then there is an option called start coding. And if I say start coding, I'll get a new page like this where I can type in my HTML, CSS, and JS. And HTML is a language where I get the output immediately, no need of compilation, no debugging required. Yeah, it is, yeah, directly interpreted and instantly I see the output on my screen. For a beginner, you know, recommended to use these online editors. So because things are instant and we can see what is going on next to. Yeah. So CodePen is one example. Yeah. CodePen is one example of, uh, online editor, and they have an option like save, and you can, you get a unique link. For that, you should have a like sign up. Yeah. So if you sign up and then, uh, you can save. So you get a unique link that you can share with anybody, just the link. So similar pattern, okay, is followed in other online tools. For example, codesandbox.io. That is also a website where it allows you to write your own HTML, CSS, JavaScript online, and it is saved in the server, so you don't have to worry. You can access it, you know, anywhere. You can again get a URL which can be shared freely with anyone. Now let's say now if I'm want to do things offline to practice HTML, CSS, or even a JavaScript, all you need is a good text editor. We can start working with any simple editor like Notepad. I can write HTML here on my Notepad. Yeah, I can save this HTML file, add some content, yeah, into HTML, and I can save. No, I'll save this file, save as, I'll save on my desktop just to show you. Okay, one important thing, the extension is very important. That is why I'll save as all files, and then I type in the name of the HTML. Okay, hello.html. So the extension for each of the HTML document is .html. So I'll give a name .html and I'll save. Now I can go back and I can just, it already comes with edge icon. So it says it is an HTML document. To run this, all I have to do is just say open. Yeah, just say open because it is by default opening in, yeah, the Edge browser. Okay, so let me open with Edge. See, I got the output. Now for every change, I have to go here. Okay, we'll add H2. Okay, welcome to HTML. I save it. Now, how do I see the output here? I've saved on that file. Should I open it again? No. Like how you refresh the site when it is updated. So you say refresh. So you see the next content. Again, you do some modification. Okay, you want to see the output? Save and refresh. So this is how you can get started with Notepad itself. Yeah, but as a professional, you want to become a professional HTML developer, it is recommended you use some tool, yeah, some good editor like Visual Studio Code. So it is actually a free software from Microsoft. So you get it in the internet. What is, yeah, you can search what is called VS Code. Yeah, so this is an editor generally most of the developer use, and it is a popular one. So I would recommend the same thing for you also. Yeah. So these editors comes with a lot of code intelligence. Okay. For example, yeah, as a beginner, I make a lot of mistakes. Okay, typing the opening character, closing character. Yeah. But with browser, it makes things, yeah, it makes things bit fast by showing code suggestion, by automatically highlighting which is a opening tag, which is a closing tag. Yeah. So we can get, so we can have a good, uh, you know, we are able to already see there is this is an opening tag and this is a closing tag. Another important thing which I would like to mention, HTML is not case sensitive. Yeah. So we can write tags, yeah, both in uppercase as well as lowercase. Okay. So as you can see, I've written everything in lowercase, all the tags. But let's say I want to type something in uppercase. Yeah, I am allowed to do, and it still works. It just works like same as the lowercase one. Now, how do I see the output? Yes, I have a browser which has opened the same page. Let me reload it. See that? It works. Okay. So, with respect to environment, web development especially, yeah, uh, the HTML, CSS part of it, or even to JavaScript, all you need is this environment, either an online or an offline environment. Offline, like any text editor, will actually, you know, be sufficient. Okay, so we covered about HTML tag, structure of HTML page, and then uh, yeah, we understood what are the different development environment like that we can have if you want to start immediately practicing it. Okay, so now let me take some questions if you guys have. Yes, anyone of you have a question? Let me to Tushar. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, how are you doing, Tushar?
Fine.
Yeah. So any questions so far?
No, today is my first lecture.
Okay, this is your first lecture. Okay, welcome. So do you have any so far questions so far in what I've covered?
No,
Right. Thank you. So how about Srinivas? Good morning, Srinivas. Srinivas, if you're speaking, you're on mute. Okay. Okay. How about Satish? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay. What are you doing?
Fine.
Fine. So any questions so far?
No, no doubts.
Right. Okay. Anyone else has a doubt? You can write in the chat. We'll start seeing. Right, we can continue. No. Okay. Fine. Now I'll give it, few minutes. Yeah. For all of you, okay, to do some hands-on. So let's try something on hands-on. Okay. So all you have to do is open this URL. I'll share it in the chat. Okay. I'll share it in the chat. I've shared now. Okay. So write in few tags here. Okay. So write some content. Even if you don't know this syntax, you're very new to this. Okay. It's okay. Try writing some tags. Maybe write whatever is written on this page. Yeah. This is my first HTML. Okay. I am like you can write your name. Yeah. I am Arun. Yeah. Okay. You can write some more things. HTML is awesome. Yeah. Okay. So can I expect you all just to open this online editor codepen.io and type in, some text like this. Yeah. So I'll give you 2 minutes. So open this editor and then type in some content and see that you are able to get the output. Okay. Yeah. So your 2-minute time starts now. let me know if you're done. We can actually proceed further. Type in done if you're done. The chat. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Okay, good. Yes, Simran. Simran is done. Okay. Sajid also. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure, Shrikant. Yeah. Yeah. Absurd. Yeah. People have to leave. Yes. Yeah. So we'll not, uh, cover like further. Uh, so we'll wind it up for now. Yeah. So, what I, you know, just a quick recap what we covered, and then I'll actually mention about the resources that you all can actually try it today when you have some time, and going through, you know, uh, like CodePen. So have some practice on CodePen. Okay, I'll mention about some of the resources where actually you can find these tags and understand. You just be familiar with, and it is a lot simple as you have seen now. You're able to do it within 2 minutes. Yeah. So you can do some more practice, and yeah. So in a summary, so we understood what is HTML. Yeah, whether it is a standard or a language, we understood the difference, and we understood who is behind creating the standards. Okay, and how browsers are actually going to use that standard, and HTML is defines yeah the skeleton of our web page, any web page. It could be even a big site like Amazon. Then we have HTML5 versions. Yeah, it started in the 1990s, and now we have all the way, and it is being actively, yeah, incremented. And the version that we have latest is HTML5. In terms of the page structure, we mainly have a doc type, head, and a body. Head and body are within HTML. And we saw how the core building block of an HTML, which is also called as tag, looks like, and what are the different parts of a tag. Yeah, and we understood a environment where I can actually practice HTML, or I can develop HTML. Yeah, so we use this tool, CodePen.io, Visual Studio Code, or it could be any simple editor like Notepad to practice and develop HTML. Okay, couple of resources I would recommend in the end. So which is Free Code Camp and developer.mozilla, which is in also popularly called as MDN. Yeah, so I would recommend these two websites to actually understand more on HTML. And for sure, if you have some time, I would suggest you to start looking at Free Code Camp, which has an online practice test. Okay, that's all. Then we'll say bye for today then. Yeah. So thank you all for joining in today.